Welcome. Ballitics, again, back. Super excited to be here. My man Ray. We got Chris over here on the computador. Super excited. Let's get into it.
Ready to roll.
What do we got? Okay. Playing another game of Start Bench Cut. This is our first time seeing this. Chris has selected these players. This is a good list right here.
It is.
This is rough. You got yours already? I might need to think. I mean, I could go.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll follow you up.
So I'm going to go start Devin Booker. He's my favorite of this three.
Okay.
I'm a huge Devin Booker fan. Obviously, that video just came out of him getting double-teamed, and Joakim Noah, absolutely correct. You should get double-teamed in pickup. It makes you a better player. So, Devin Booker, if you're listening, sack up. I don't know. That's tough, though. I've never been a huge Jimmy Butler fan. I am a big Doncic fan, but I think just in terms of Butler's more proven, I'm going to go with bench Butler, and I'm going to go with cut Doncic. But that's tough. Doncic is a good player.
Gotcha. Wow, this is a tough one.
I know. Yeah. This is hard because I do like Doncic a lot.
Yeah, this is a tough one just because obviously Devin Booker being a younger player, Jimmy Butler's obviously accomplished more than him. We've seen more of Jimmy Butler, but if we're just going as skill set on the court, I got to go with start Jimmy Butler. I'm going to bench Booker.
Okay.
And I'm cutting Luka.
Okay. At least we're cutting the same person this time.
Yeah.
Because the last time we cut different people's.
We did. And the only reason why I'm sticking with Jimmy is just because everywhere we've seen him go, obviously has locker room issues with young guys, young teams, but he elevates the play around him everywhere he goes.
Okay.
So Minnesota Timberwolves, for instance, he was the main guy that they were going through when he was there with them. And they actually, made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he was the go-to guy, and he was their leader. And we'll see what those guys do without him. Last year they didn't make the playoffs. Struggled a little bit. So we'll see how they do this year. But Luka, we just haven't seen enough of.
Yeah.
I believe.
He's super talented, though.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Super talented.
We're going to see what he does now when there's expectations.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. You look at NBA players, expectations, once they come, we get to see what type of player you really are. So we'll see if Luka rises to that challenge, which I believe he will.
I think he will, too. I like Luka a lot.
And then obviously Devin is a very talented young player.
71.
Yeah, he's 71.
71 points.
And he lost. Yeah. And he lost.
That's true.
And for the talent that you are, and I understand that you're on a young team with some rising talent, but you were easily the worst team in the Western Conference.
By a lot.
By a lot, and for the last couple years with him being that talent. So doesn't mean that obviously he's not a good player.
I think Ayton will help too. Hopefully Ayton will help him.
I'd
like to see Ayton get better because people forget he had a good rookie season. Actually, Ayton's still a reliable NBA player.
I agree.
I think he averaged like 16 and 9 or something.
I agree. And they just need to get some talent around Devin Booker. Like you said, the video.
Yeah,
I wasn't a fan of it. You're crying that you're getting double teamed. Just play ball, man.
I know.
Nobody wants to hear that. You need to work on your game, get a trainer, go 1-on-1. And get your trainer on your own 5-on-5, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever the game throws at you, deal with it. It's basketball.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we cut the same person, so that's good. We're getting close.
All right.
So next thing here, we're going to talk Team USA basketball. This is something that I'm really passionate about. I've always been a fan of Team USA basketball. The allure of it, for some reason, to me, is really cool. Obviously, Chris hates this. I always beat this into him, but Kobe in the 2008 Team USA basketball is one of my favorite sports moments of all time, that gold medal game with Spain. And I think that Team USA basketball is a little bit underrated, actually. I don't know if people consider enough how important it is for guys' careers. When you get to go play with all these other stars and all these other great players, you really see who's a leader, who's a follower, who can really score the basketball. Because obviously when you're playing in the NBA, you're playing against teams where you don't have teams full of stars, unless you're the Warriors.
Yes.
But it's hard, day in, day out at practice to be playing guys at your level if you're at a superstar level or you're at a star level, all-star level. So these guys get to go and show up to practice, and they're getting coached by Pop or Coach K. So they're getting these things for 6 weeks. They're getting really, really high-level practice, play, competition, and then just to go represent your country and play on a world stage. It comes with a lot of pressure. And I think a lot of guys, you'll see people melt or you'll see people emerge through that. I mean, we saw Kevin Durant in 2010 really emerge.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw him become something special. Dropped like 38 against Turkey.
Yeah.
In the finals.
Yes, he did.
For Team USA in Turkey. They were playing Turkey in Turkey.
Yeah.
In front of a loaded crowd. And
I agree.
he went out and dropped 38. And then after that, all of a sudden, the Thunder are going to the playoffs. And then you got guys like Donovan Mitchell, who everybody has been saying around basketball camp right now, around Team USA basketball camp, that Donovan Mitchell looks like the best player on the court.
Yes.
It looks like
emerging leader.
It looks like he's an emerging leader. And we've kind of talked about this before when we did Start Bench Cut with Donovan Mitchell, CJ McCollum, and Kemba Walker. And I talked about one of the things I loved about Donovan Mitchell. It looks like he can be a leader.
Yes.
And there's something about the kid. He's magnetic for me. I don't know. He looks like he loves the game. He looks like he's a great teammate. I don't know. I like Donovan Mitchell a lot. And I think we're going to see, similar to Dwayne Wade kind of career. He's going into his third season right now. Yeah. That was when Dwayne Wade won his finals with Shaq on the Heat. And I think they just have, they have similar builds. They're the same position. They're kind of an undersized two guard that can play the one. Yeah. Neither of them can shoot the ball great. I just see a lot of similarities between him and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Even personality, good leaders.
Yeah, even not a lot of fanfare coming out of college, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot on the same track. And, I like Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a great player, and I expect a really good year from him. And, through the history of the Olympics, one thing that we see that those guys that play on that Olympic team, this is just a history of this. They come back just a better player, and they come back ready to go.
Yeah.
And those guys end up having career years coming back from playing in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Obviously we're huge Laker fans. We can go back to the game that you talked about when Spain played against USA for the finals, right? Well, that year, guess who goes to the NBA Finals? Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom came back. Lamar Odom came back in the best shape that we've ever seen him in. He was sixth man of the year coming out of that year. Kobe Bryant obviously was Kobe Bryant. And Pau Gasol had a phenomenal year for us that year coming out of winning the Olympics. And then Dwight Howard was a guy that was on our team who we faced that year in the finals. We faced Orlando Magic. But if you look at the history of guys who play in the Olympics, for these teams during the summertime, they come back just kind of like with a renewed fire. You know?
There's something about it. I think it gets these guys. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it. I think it's that day after day you're just playing against
most definitely, and you're around greatness every day,
right?
And obviously this team is different because you had some of the really good players, some of the great players dropping out. At this point, I think we're down to one or two All-Stars from the NBA that are actually on this team.
It's like Kemba and
and
might be the only one.
and so I think with that, there's always things you can learn from situations like this. So if you're not a All-Star in the NBA and you're looking at a team where people are doubting you and guys are dropping out, then if you're a guy like Kyle Kuzma, then you take that on your shoulder and say, hey, I'm going to step up and play a bigger role than different guys that are on this team. So it's going to be very interesting to watch this team and how it plays out for them.
Yeah.
But obviously, as we get into the Olympics, we're going to have the big names coming back.
So this is FIBA.
Yeah,
obviously
exactly.
That's why you see like the different basketballs and stuff. This is FIBA, which is still a fun tournament.
Yeah, it is.
But it's not as important as the Olympics. But either way, you're with Team USA basketball. You're with Pop.
Yes, and I couldn't be happier as a Laker fan than the fact that our guy Kyle Kuzma is playing.
Yeah.
And you're out there with a guy like Greg Popovich, and I heard there was a play where he came down and just jacked up a jump shot. Like he would do with the Lakers, and it didn't go in, it didn't work.
Right.
And then he came down the next play and he swung the ball. He could have shot it, he swung it, somebody else got a bucket, and they said Popovich jumped up out of his seat and pumped both of his fists like, yes, So to be out there and to be with a guy like Popovich, obviously Kyle Kuzma was under a couple different coaches already with the Lakers. So for him to come now and be with a different coach who's won championships and to get the tutelage, from guys like Steve Kerr and other guys that are on that bench, that's huge for a guy like Kyle Kuzma and what his growth could be for an LA Lakers team that's trying to win a championship this upcoming year.
And that would be the hope, is that it's one of the reasons I get so excited about USA basketball is you see guys on your team. If you're a Utah Jazz fan, you should be stoked for the USA basketball right now, because you're seeing Donovan Mitchell come out. People are saying he's stronger. He looks like a better leader. He's getting to the bucket with ease. He's looking explosive. Like he looks like a better basketball player.
I agree. That's usually what comes out of it.
And I think if he comes out and, if we're going to map his career similar to Dwayne Wade's, Utah could be deadly in the West. Yeah. They could have a really good season.
Yeah, we already think that they're going to be a really tough team.
Yeah.
And, I think where he needed growth the most was – in the leadership role.
Yeah.
Taking that leadership role. Ricky Rubio's gone now, and that ball is in his hands. So, they're really looking for him to lead this year.
Yeah. I mean, they did get Mike Conley, which is going to help them
They
a lot,
did.
too.
They did.
That he's going to help them a lot. But even with that being said, he's their franchise
He's the
player.
man.
He's their guy. So,
he is.
And then another player that they were saying looks really good outside of Jason Tatum, who apparently has looked great, which is cool. I'm a Jason Tatum fan. Is my boy Swipe of the Fox, De'Aaron Fox.
Okay, yeah.
Who I've been a fan of for a long time. Obviously, so when the draft came around and it was Lonzo Ball draft is what I like to refer to it as. I really didn't want Markelle Fultz.
Yes.
So I'm glad we didn't get stuck with that train wreck.
I wasn't a fan.
And I did like Lonzo, but I also really like De'Aaron Fox. And I flirted with the idea of why don't the Lakers pick De'Aaron Fox?
Yes.
And everybody gave me a hard time. Everybody being Chris. No, a lot of people outside of Chris. But Chris gave me a hard time. He's like, no, dude, you got to go with Lonzo. He's going to be great and all this stuff. And I liked De'Aaron Fox. I was like, I don't know. The kid looks like he has potential.
Yeah.
And he's flourished. And I'm super excited for him. I think Sacramento could be that team that could maybe slip into an 8th seed.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The West is loaded now, so I don't know.
It seems like something always goes wrong with that team.
I know.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But
I like De'Aaron Fox a lot. Very good player.
But all that being said, it's cool to see these young guys come out and get a chance to be leaders like this amongst their peers and guys that at their age, their level.
And get to do it on a big stage. You know how many people have watched Kemba Walker play in Charlotte?
Right.
How many people actually watch Utah Jazz basketball outside of Utah? So for these guys to be able to display their talent in front of everyone, I think that's huge for these guys that maybe don't have the big name behind them. And that's something they can take, and it'll be their advantage coming into this year.
Absolutely. All right. Move on to the next thing here. So, obviously, with DeMarcus Cousins going down, the Lakers have a spot to fill.
Yes.
I was saying prior to DeMarcus Cousins going down, the Lakers need another big man because JaVale and DeMarcus Cousins are not reliable with injuries, and Anthony Davis, for that matter. All of them have been injury prone.
Yes.
So I was saying we needed to go out and get another big, and then DeMarcus Cousins, unfortunately, went down. And we talked about, I think this levels the playing field a lot. I think the Lakers were the favorite before with LeBron, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis. And obviously they're still my favorite because I'm biased. But I do think DeMarcus Cousins going down really levels the playing field for a couple different teams in the league. And we may disagree on that. I'm not sure. But I do think that the Clippers, the Sixers, and the Bucks all have really good shots as well. And there's probably a couple other teams. I really like the Nuggets, the Jazz, if Donovan Mitchell, like we just talked about. And we'll talk more here. I want to hear more what you would have to say about Boogie Cousins before we talk about who the Lakers should go to.
Yeah. So, first of all, we all feel bad for the guy. I mean, even if you're not a Laker fan, you got to feel bad for this guy and the money he's lost out on and how his career is kind of turning because his body is failing him. But like you said, it being an open playing field, obviously we're going to be a little biased. We try not to be.
Yeah.
But, the dynamic of this team with Anthony Davis, and this is the thing when we mentioned kind of with the FIBA World Basketball and even USA Basketball, these guys get to display their talent. I think that Anthony Davis is really just going to remind everybody how good he is.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about this before. I don't think we mentioned it on the podcast, but how many fans outside of New Orleans have watched more than 10 games of Anthony Davis in his career, if they were honest with themselves?
Even in this last season with all the drama surrounding him, he was only playing 20 minutes a game.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Anthony Davis is going to remind everyone who he is and how good he is, and LeBron's going to do the same. And obviously we have a host of really good role players and all those things. So this decision right here is a big decision, and this is where I think we get down to a point where Rob Pelinka can win the Lakers' trust over again. Because a lot of trust was lost between the Magic Johnson situation, all the scenarios, everything that was going on. And it looked like we couldn't get a coach. And, I mean, it was just really bad at one point in time. Magic quitting on us on national TV. And Rob Pelinka, obviously got Anthony Davis here. And not only did he get Anthony Davis here, after we didn't get Kawhi Leonard, he had a great plan B.
Yeah.
Right? That went down within like 24 hours. So that means they were ready.
Yeah.
They weren't just there, twiddling their thumbs, not knowing what to do. So Rob Pelinka proved himself to the Lakers in that aspect. And I think that he can prove himself to Laker fans again, because out of all these guys here that we see as a replacement, it's funny to say it, but Dwight Howard's my guy. And I believe that we got to put, the reason why I keep mentioning Lakers front office is because I got to believe that when you have a great front office, which we're hoping ours is, right? We're still seeing the development of our front office. What happens is this goes through stages, right? They reach out to him, they talk to him. Now they're bringing him in for a workout.
Right.
Okay. Now you sit down and you get to intimately interview the guy. You get to see what his goals are, what his focus is, and he's done interviews to kind of put out there that he's ready.
Right.
But when you get him behind closed doors and you get to sit down with him,
It might be a different story.
we don't get the advantage of being able to do that.
Yeah.
But they do. And so what they can do now is they can earn our trust by showing that, hey, we've dotted our I's and we've crossed our T's on this guy.
Yeah.
And, if he's in a purple and gold jersey, we got to know it's because our front office did the right job and they put the right person there. Because I think the locker room fit would be Joakim Noah. A guy that's great with younger guys. He's great with veterans. He's a workhorse. He works hard. His game just kind of fits in with, because he just does all the little things. He does the dirty work.
Good passer, boxes out.
So most guys like that,
feet.
they get along with their teammates and they're great in the locker room. With Dwight, we have those question marks.
Absolutely.
But skill-wise and talent-wise, Dwight Howard is the best guy out of all these guys on the screen, outside of DeMarcus Cousins being hurt. Obviously, he's on the screen. But, if the guy can come in as a role player now and give us, he can sleepwalk his way into 8 to 10 points just off of alley-oops and lobs.
Yeah.
Right? The guy can catch one or two blocks.
LeBron.
Yeah, the guy can catch 1 to 2 blocks with his eyes closed, and we know that he's just a natural rebounder.
Right.
So we can get him as a third rotational big. And my opinion is, out of all of these guys that the Lakers are working out, he's the only guy that if something does happen to Anthony Davis, knock on wood, if something does happen to JaVale, which it tends to, he has little knick-knack injuries, this is the only guy that you can actually place in the starting lineup for maybe 10 to 15 games, and we don't lose a whole bunch,
right?
Right. Because the guy is, 3-time, defensive, player of the year. He's been to the NBA Finals. It's just the other things that concern us.
Yeah, the locker room would be the question mark there, because Joakim Noah does scare me a little bit, because remember he had that he went into the woods and posted videos thing. I don't know if I know I don't know where his head's at. Obviously, I don't know him, and I'm not in the room when they're having conversations with him, so we don't know. Like you said, talent-wise, Dwight Howard for sure. I actually am a Mo Spates fan. I thought when he was on the Warriors, he played a really good role for them.
He did.
But I don't know how he looks in terms of the shape department. Because he's been playing overseas a little bit.
And we got to remember too, they had a 3-headed monster in Golden State, so he was more like a specialist. Even more than, which to me I think I put below a role player. Right, because they had Festus Ezeli when they needed athleticism. Right, they had Andrew Bogut when they needed defense and just smart play, boxing out. He's a great passer, and Mo Spates came in as a guy that could spread the floor.
Right.
So depending on who they played, depending on how many minutes he got and what style they wanted to play.
Right.
So with him, I just think we're going to need more from our third big than what Mo Spates has to offer, because he doesn't rebound, doesn't play defense.
Yeah. I mean, it's a question mark, but I mean, it would be nice for him to space the floor.
Yeah.
Even with that, just because JaVale doesn't.
Well, put it this way, I would love him as our fourth big.
Right. Yeah.
That's the role I want for Mo Spates at this point, you know?
But I think, I don't, Marcin Gortat maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years ago, I would have been like, I'll take Marcin Gortat.
And he played well for the Clippers when he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a horrible player. He's still, he'd be similar to like a Joakim Noah. I just think he's a little more clunky.
Yes.
And he's a little bit less athletic.
I agree.
I would rather see Joakim or Dwight Howard. It looks like that's kind of the direction they're going.
Yeah,
it looks like right now
too.
it's going to be Joakim or Dwight Howard.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those two guys. But
I'm with you. I think Dwight Howard would be the best, just because he's the most talented. Yes. And I don't think anybody else is going to pick up Joakim Noah. So worst comes to worst, you get rid of Dwight Howard and you go pick up Joakim Noah.
Yeah, I mean, and his first stint with us, I think, is being over-exaggerated by Laker fans. It was just a bad year for us. You get this guy in, and we're in a situation where you bring in D'Antoni, where it's a 3-point, shooting, offense that he's bringing to the table, and you got two bigs with him and Pau Gasol. If we can remember, they actually sat Pau Gasol and benched him for a little while.
Yeah.
In favor for, I forget the guy that they had from the New York Knicks that he loved. He brought him in he was playing overseas or in the G League. He brought him in and started him over Pau just because he could shoot the three.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And they benched Pau, and Dwight Howard obviously didn't fit into what we were trying to do at that time. And coming off of injuries,
right.
Him and Kobe obviously didn't see eye to eye, but he did play.
Right.
He played when he was hurt. Wasn't doing well physically, back surgeries, all those things. So
yeah,
we'll see if he comes second time around how it'll go.
Right. Yeah. And then the next segment here that we're going to talk about will obviously be Lakers, if you couldn't tell by the graphic. And we wanted to talk about really about Lakers fans and their relationship, I guess you could call it, with LeBron James, and what his legacy might be, what we might feel about him. Because obviously when he got here, it wasn't a warm welcome.
No, it wasn't.
The whole defacing the mural thing, I'm not a huge LeBron fan. I wasn't a huge fan before he got here. I was notoriously not a hater, but I would shut down the super LeBron fans.
We were kind of anti-LeBron, which
right?
Doesn't mean really you're a hater, but
and I respected his greatness.
Yeah.
There was times where I was like, hey, pump the brakes on the LeBron thing a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
But obviously when he got here, it's like, hey, he's my guy now. Now I got to root for him. And my theories don't change on him. His past is still his past. I still believe the things I believed before he was a Laker. I'm rooting for him more because he's at the helm of our ship.
Yeah.
The whole defacing the mural thing to me was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
Why? Why root against the guy that's coming to your town? Why not hope that he wins you a championship? Support the guy.
Yeah, well, you use a strong word to start this off. You said relationship, right? The relationship that Laker fans have with their stars.
Yeah.
And, usually with our stars, we love our stars here, right? And if you don't do well, or if things go wrong, if you're injured, Dwight Howard, as we talked about before, we can see how that ends up, right? But LeBron James, this is such a complex, I think, topic, right?
Okay.
Because Laker fans love Kobe Bryant, right? Most Laker fans do. And as we can see through the history of things, once you have a passion for a player, right, you can kind of not like the guy that comes to basically take over his legacy,
to grab the torch.
Yeah. And LeBron was at the heels of Kobe and his legacy, and Laker fans just weren't feeling that, right? Mm-hmm. The same way that we've said, most Jordan fans don't like Kobe, right? Because Kobe was touching that legacy,
right?
And then you have the barbershop arguments, which are always fun. Who's better, Jordan or Kobe? And obviously the Jordan fans are, hey, 6 rings and 6 tries, and they could always shoot down Kobe fans because of that. Oh, he won 3 with Shaq and all those things, So those debates are always fun. But with this situation here, we have a guy as Laker fans that we've always kind of rooted against. It's not like we hate LeBron or we hated him.
No.
It was just think that you were running up on our guy.
Yeah.
And so that caused, healthy debates of who's better, LeBron or Kobe.
Yeah.
And, we always stuck with Kobe. And then all of a sudden, this guy that you kind of been rooting against, or you haven't been rooting for him to win, really, he's on your team.
Right.
So how do we handle that?
Right.
Right. And that's the big question here. And the big question on top of that one is, if LeBron James does win here, can he win over 100% of Laker fans?
Right.
Right. That's a huge question that we really won't know the answer to until he possibly does win here. But we can still, kick this idea around and give our opinions on it,
right,
which is what we're here to do.
Right. And I would say I would hope that if he wins a championship, he's got full support now.
Yes.
Obviously I support him, but I know that there are diehard Kobe Laker fans out there that I don't know what it is they lack, but they don't want to support the guy.
Yes.
Which to me is more immature than just saying, all right, let's.
Well, especially now that he's a Laker.
Bury the hatchet, dust off the hands.
He's a Laker.
We're the same color now, but it's interesting that I think he could probably win 2 championships, and there'd still be some people who are like, nah, he's not a Laker, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, it is.
I already consider him not a Laker great, but he's a Laker now. You stepped into the purple and gold, you stuck with it for a season, you played with our young guys.
Yeah. And the main thing is, coming here to the Lakers, one, you have to win.
Yeah,
okay?
This is true.
If you win, we're going to give you love.
Yeah, this is
right?
true.
It doesn't matter what we felt about you before, right? We're the same team, and for some of, the viewers that don't go as far back, but we hated Gary Payton. We hated Karl Malone. Now, I loved Gary Payton just as a fan of basketball because I just loved the way he played. But, we had to play against him, all that talking and the way he played. I mean, Gary Payton was a hard guy to root for if you weren't a Sonics fan.
Right.
So when he walked into your building, usually you didn't like Gary Payton. And
right.
Karl Malone just stuck it to us every time he played us, him and John Stockton. Laker fans, we just couldn't stand them. And Utah fans hated the Lakers. Right. In the sports sense of the word. And so, when you have both of those guys that ended up on the Lakers, we rooted for them. Right. It didn't take long for us to root for those guys. And I think with LeBron James, it's a little different because he's more of a popular player. I mean, he's just a bigger talent and, This guy just brings a lot with him, right? The
Right.
social media stuff, everything he brings with him. So when you get LeBron, you're getting all of LeBron,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. And with LeBron James, I think if he wins here, I think he wins over the hearts of all Laker fans if he wins.
I would hope.
Yes.
I mean, that
It's
would
the
be
number
the
one
hope.
thing here.
Yeah.
LA,
And-
you got to win.
And I think it comes too with, it comes with the territory. There was always debate on Twitter and Insta, all the social medias, and I've had heated battles of people who are big LeBron fans up against people who are big Kobe fans.
Yes.
So now you even have the divide of guys who are LeBron fans who now root for the Lakers because they were LeBron fans before. Now there's kind of that weird battle between, well, I've been a lifetime Laker fan. He's like, well, I've been a lifetime LeBron fan.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden they're
there's
jumping on the bandwagon, right?
And now there's a whole different debate, and now it's not like Kobe versus LeBron, but it's like fan versus fan.
Yeah,
I have more rights to this team than. There's a lot of different things. It's a very dynamic situation.
Well, because he's a dynamic player. He's
Right.
complex in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
There's things you love about LeBron, and then there's things that that aren't so attractive, that to most fans,
Right.
kind of turn them off. But at the end of the day, we know he's a great player. We know that as Laker fans, this is my philosophy as a Laker fan. It always has been, right? I don't just root for the players on the team, right? I'm a Laker fan,
Right.
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 I'm a Laker fan. So if you play for the Lakers, I'm going to be a fan of yours,
Right.
Because I'm a LA Laker fan, and most fans, that's kind of how we tick, as far as being Laker fans, we're going to root for you when you put that purple and gold on, and everything else is out the window, right? It's kind of like if your buddy had a girlfriend and he's always complaining about her, and you're like, yeah, buddy, she's this, she's that, but the 1 minute they break up and maybe you end up start dating her, all of a sudden those things that were problems.
Yeah.
You're dealing with now, right? Oh no, it wasn't that big of a deal. Oh no, I don't see. It's the same type of thing, right?
Right.
You bring this guy over, he's on your team. We're going to take his greatness, and we got to take his flaws along with that.
Right. Yeah, and then the other thing people were getting upset about, real quick here, we'll finish up, but that picture that was posted, I know we talked about this before,
Yes.
where someone posted, I think it was Magic, Kobe, LeBron, Shaq, and Kareem sitting
Yes.
down on the bench. And someone posted and captioned the Lakers all-time starting five.
Yes.
And there was a lot of Lakers fans that were up in arms because LeBron was in the all-time starting five, and it's kind of like, what has he done? To me, that was more like, well, these are the best players to ever play in the purple and gold.
Yes.
So I don't mind him being in that conversation.
Yeah.
If I were to make my Lakers starting five, it would be that exact starting lineup.
Yeah.
It would be those five people: Magic, Kobe, LeBron, Kareem, and Shaq.
Yes, I agree. And he's accomplished enough in his career
Right.
to garner that
To be
kind of
in that
respect.
conversation.
Yes,
Yeah.
most definitely.
I mean, because you look at this list, and there's still like Jerry West,
Oh,
and
it's
there's
just
Wilt
crazy.
Chamberlain, there's James Worthy.
James
people that we
Worthy,
talk
one of my
about.
favorite Lakers of all time.
Right.
He's a guy that could possibly be in that picture at that position.
Right.
Because the
Small
picture
forward.
was by position.
Right, exactly.
So, they had a center, they had a
Yeah.
power forward.
Well, yeah, it was minus. I mean, Shaq and Kareem.
Yeah.
they both play the center. They,
Yeah,
they
but you
slid
can-
one in at the power forward.
Yeah, they slid one to the power, which
Yeah.
you can do. You can
Right.
get away with.
Right.
And so LeBron has come over here as the most accomplished player to ever come over from another team.
Chris,
Yeah, Chris, what are we doing over here, man?
goodness.
You jinxing us already with the LeBron James situation? Fall asleep over there? Yeah, but LeBron James has come over to us as the most accomplished player to ever come from another team to us. So it's something even
Absolutely.
different than what we're used to as Laker
Yeah.
fans. And what he has to prove, and I'll tie my point up with this, what he has to prove to Laker fans that are doubting him, because the consensus out there was he was just coming over here because it's LA. His family wants to be here. Bronny Jr., he gets to play AAU ball.
Glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, he's playing at a high-profile high school down
Yeah,
here now
I'm
in
glad you mentioned that.
California. And so that was one of the bigger things out there, and the bigger question from Laker fans, okay, is his intentions real coming here?
That
Does he
was-
really want to win?
That was a real concern that I
Yes.
had. And
Yeah.
obviously now that Anthony Davis is here, I would like to see them win, and then that will be resolved in me
I
as a
think so,
Laker
too.
fan. But I'm still skeptical of that.
Yeah.
I'm still skeptical of the whole LeBron coming here for LA more than basketball. It could
Yeah.
be 60-40 or 55-45, in terms of the percentage of what he's really here for. But I am a little bit skeptical of it, and I would be one of the Lakers fans where if he brings a championship here, I'm 100% sold.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm all in on it.
And you know what? I'm already in on him being here because one thing he already did is he bought us AD.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I
I'm
don't
in on
think
him
Anthony
being
Davis. Yeah, but I think that comes along with, who you are as a player and what you're doing for the team,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
So he brought us to respectability,
Yeah,
right?
that's very true.
Yeah, we weren't
Absolutely.
in the playoffs. No one wanted to come here.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you get, Anthony Davis. You get all these great role players that want to play
Yeah.
here. They're turning down less money to play for other teams to play here. We were not receiving any of those,
Right.
those things before LeBron James came here. So he's already taken us to a level that we were not before.
Yeah.
Now it's about, the dedication to take us to championship level, which I think that he's already shown us that he has it. This guy got hurt. He tried to come back, and he wasn't 100%.
Right.
We could all see on the floor he wasn't 100%. And then all we know from him so far this summer is he's been working his butt off.
Yeah.
To make sure he's 100% and his body is right coming into this season. So he's a great player, and there's one thing I will never doubt about a great player is just their urge to want to win.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that him coming back, in the 17th season, that he just is going to come back and not give 100%.
Sure.
So I'm with you. Obviously, he came here also for LA.
Right.
But I think it was 50-50. Shaq did the same
Sure.
thing.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we didn't criticize Shaq for that. Shaq came here because he wanted to be in movies. He wanted to make
Yeah.
rap albums. He wanted to do all those things. He accomplished those things
Yeah.
on top of winning
Sure.
championships.
And if they can do that,
Yes.
kudos.
Yes.
It's just be careful.
Yes.
You know?
Well, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Yes.
All right.
I agree.
Well, that'll wrap it up here at Ballitics. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right.
Deuces.
Signing out.
Cool.
All right.
There we go.
That was good.
Successful
That was good. That was good.
I like
Good
it.
topic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was good.